has any plans to operationalize the Simuzela Carpentry and the Youth Skills Center in Bawala Parliamentary Constituency? If so, when the plans will be implemented, and if there are no such plans, why?
So that's just one of the questions that is expected to be considered on the floor of the House under Standing Order number 80. We do expect Mr. Kambita, who's the chairperson of the Committee on Parastatal Bodies, to move a motion urging the House to adopt the reports of the Committee on Parastatal Bodies on the report of the Auditor General on the accounts of the parastatal bodies and other statutory institutions for the financial year ended 31st December 2022 for the third session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 23rd July 2024.
We expect question number 394 to come from Chitambo, Member of Parliament, Mr. Remember Mutale, and he's directing his question to the Minister of Agriculture. He wants to find out whether the government has any plans to increase rice production in Chitambo district. If so, what measures are being taken to secure good markets for the rice?
And the House will also consider the Zambia Institute of Advanced Legal Education coming up at a third reading stage. Just now we take you to the floor of the House.
Honorable Members of Parliament, Madam Speaker.
Tendency of Zambia, proud and free, land of work and joy in unity, victors in the struggle for our rights. We want freedom side, oh, one, strong and free. Africa is our own motherland, fashioned with a blessed by God's land. Let us all our people join as one, brothers under the sun, oh, one, strong and free. One land and one nation is our cry. Dignity and peace in Zambia's sky, like a noble eagle in its flight. Zambia, praise to thee, oh, one, strong and free. Praise be to God, praise be, bless our great Zambia, Zambia, Zambia. Remain with stand under the flag of our land, Zambia, praise to thee, oh, one, strong and free.
Prayer. Almighty God, who in your infinite wisdom and providential goodness has appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to consider with your abundant favor us, your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of such important responsibilities in this land. Let your blessing descend upon us here in Parliament assembled, and grant that we may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation, in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country, and of those whose interests you have committed to our charge. Amen. Order, honorable members, we need to start business. Honorable members, I wish to recognize the presence in the public gallery pupils and teachers from BY School in Kamala, Lusaka district. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, I warmly welcome our visitors in our midst. You are welcome. You may take your seats. Thank you. Urgent matters without notice. The Honorable Member for Kamfinsa.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the matter I wish to raise without notice is directed at the Minister responsible for Labor and Social Security. Madam Speaker, when the Bank of Zambia took over the Development Bank of Zambia, all the workers at the Development Bank of Zambia were paid the packages that were due to them. When Bank of Zambia took over Intermarket Bank, Madam Speaker, all the workers at Intermarket Bank were paid all the monies that were due to them. Madam Speaker, under the office of the Minister of Labor, we have an office called the Office of the Labor Commissioner, whose duty, Madam Speaker, is to ensure that labor laws in Zambia are protected and the plight of our workers is protected. Madam Speaker, is the Minister responsible for Labor and Social Security in order not to come to this august house, Madam Speaker, to assure the workers who have been declared redundant at Invest Trust Bank that their dues will be paid in line with the labor laws. Madam Speaker, this matter relates to over 350 workers who have families, and Madam Speaker, through this platform, the People's Platform, the workers want assurance on what government is doing to provide clarity on this matter. 4 months now, Madam Speaker, the workers have not been paid. Is the Minister in order? Madam Speaker, I seek your serious indulgence in this matter on behalf of our workers, and I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Kamfinsa. Listening to what you've asked, maybe it's better you put in an urgent question. The Honorable Minister will then be able to answer. The next one, the Honorable Member for Lundazi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The matter of urgent public importance I wish to raise is directed towards the new Minister of Health.
You may proceed, Honorable Member.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This morning, Madam Speaker, I went to University Teaching Hospital where there are some patients who have been referred from Lundazi after the many accidents which have been happening in my constituency. Madam Speaker, the situation at UTH requires an urgent attention. Patients are unable to access the upper floors because most of the elevators are not in use right now. Madam Speaker, we have people who are blind, we have people who are disabled, and we have people who are generally weak, and they are failing to access some of the facilities which are on the upper floors. Madam Speaker, I need your indulgence, especially that UTH is a countrywide referral hospital. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Member for Lundazi, you know, I always advise honorable members to engage with the relevant minister if there is a situation like that. You are talking about an elevator not working. You have not stated how long this elevator has not been working, and whether you have made any endeavor to engage the relevant authorities to ensure that the elevator is working. So under the circumstances, because you want to know, and also it relates to a specific issue, what you can do is, we may wish to put in a question so that the Honorable Minister can answer. But in the meantime, you can engage the Honorable Minister. I know it's a new broom. I don't know if it sweeps better than the old, which knows all the corners, but I'm sure you'll be able to sweep some. He's not here, but I'm sure he's listening wherever he is. Please do engage. Let's not wait for people to suffer. We wait for a ministerial statement to be delivered. By that time, the damage would have been done. That concludes matters of urgent matters without notice. We go to the next, which is questions for oral answer under Standing Order 80. The Honorable Member for Mbabala.
What's the number? Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 392. 393.
Thank you. The Honorable Acting Minister of Youth, Sports and Arts.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Mr. Monsanje, the Honorable Member for Mbabala constituency, to ask the Minister for Youth, Sports and Arts a three-part question. In A, whether the government has any plans to operationalize Simunzele Carpentry and Youth Skills Center in Mbabala parliamentary constituency. B, if so, when the plans will be implemented. And lastly, in Part C, Madam Speaker, if there are no such plans, why? In response to the Honourable Member's question, Madam Speaker, we wish to respond as follows. The Honourable Member of Parliament may wish to note that currently the Ministry has plans to operationalize the Simunzele Carpentry and Youth Skills Center in order to increase youth access to skills training, which includes the youth from Mbabala constituency. However, it is worth noting that the skills center in question belongs to the community of Simunzele, and as such, the Ministry is engaging the community on modalities of incorporating it as an extension for Mbabala Youth Resource Center. In B, Madam Speaker, as stated in A above, the Ministry is currently engaging the Simunzele Carpentry and Youth Skills Center in Mbabala to establish linkages with Mbabala Youth Resource Center in order to enhance provision of skills training for youths in these communities. Lastly, Madam Speaker, as indicated in B, the Ministry is currently establishing modalities on how to incorporate Simunzele Carpentry and Youth Skills Center to the Mbabala Youth Resource Center. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. Supplementary questions? The Honorable Member for Mbabala.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister, for that very good and important response from the Minister of Youth, Sport and Arts. The people of Mbabala are excited that the Simunzele Youth Skills Center is in your plans for revitalization so that we can train our youths locally. As you know, Honorable Minister, Mbabala has trained over 900 youths under CDF in the skills area who have gone to various colleges around the country. And now we have the situation that we have to feed these youths wherever they are and also look after them, and now we have the drought situation. So could we know if there is some end date which we can work with you so that those who are going for carpentry can actually be paid for at Simunzere instead of sending them to Livingstone, to Rwansha, and all these other colleges, even Sesheke. I thank you, Honorable Minister.
The Honorable Acting Minister of Youth, Sport and Arts.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And to the Honourable Member, may I simply say that being the area Member of Parliament, he should know the history of Simunzele Skills Training Center, that this was initially run by an NGO called HODI, and that at the moment, this particular center is being used as a community school. Hence, the need for my ministry to engage with the community to see the practicability of turning this into a youth a skills training center. Because I'm sure the Honourable Member will agree that perhaps what he may need to do is to put up perhaps a 1x3 classroom block, so that both important activities to this government, provision of free education, indeed impacting of skills to our youths, are very important, and that we must work together. But these consultations are currently underway. Should the community feel that skills training would take preference over a community school, my ministry will oblige and move as such. Madam Speaker, thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Dudumwezi.
Madam Speaker, I thank you very much. Honorable Minister, what is the ministry doing to ensure that Simunzele Youth Camp is not vandalized? You know that an institution, if it is not being used, is prone to vandalism. I thank you so much.
The Honorable Acting Minister of Youth, Sport and Arts.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, that question comes as perhaps as a surprise to me as Minister, because as far as we are concerned, the school is being used. It is currently working as a community school, and that is under the Ministry of Education. The question of vandalism to a school because of it not being used, therefore, does not arise. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Member for Kamfinso.
Honorable Acting Minister of Youth, Sport and Child Development, the question that has been raised by my colleague...
Has the name been changed to Child Development? It's Youth, Sport and Arts.
Thank you for your guidance, Madam Speaker. Acting Minister of Youth, Sport and Arts, the question that has been raised by the Member of Parliament for Mbabala requires that perhaps you offer some guidance for the rest of us. And I want to take advantage because there are so many members of Parliament that are building skills training centers in their constituencies using CDF. I'm aware that in Ndeke, in my constituency, we have one facility in Itezi, we have another one, and obviously the one in Mbabala. Some are owned by private individuals, others are owned by the community, others have been funded by government. From a policy point of view, what is the role of the ministry in ensuring that these become operational? Because it is exactly what my dear colleague is asking. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Acting Minister of Youth, Sport and Arts.
Madam Speaker, I'm afraid this is a very specific question to the case in Mbabala at Simunzele, which case, like I've stated, was initially run by an NGO, which to some extent also provided skills training programs. When that NGO left, the Minister of Education took over and is currently serving as a community school. And that because of the constituency's request that perhaps we get back to skills training programs, we have had to engage the community. Once that engagement is done, we should be able to make progress and indeed do that which the local people in that area deem more appropriate and more important for the moment. The other issues that you make reference to obviously must be dealt with on a case-by-case basis. And so I'm not able to simply go forum shopping on each of the cases that you referred to. Well, Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's make progress. Order, honorable members. There is an indication for a point of order. Honorable member for Luena, what's the point of order?
Madam Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity to rise on this serious and the constitutional point of order. Madam Speaker, Article 72, 2B, and Article 72G of the Constitution of Zambia deals with circumstances under which a member of parliament can lose their seat. It is in public domain, Madam Speaker, that our colleagues, Honorable Nixon Chilangwa for Kawambwa and Honorable Ronald Chitotela for Pambashe constituencies respectively, were on Monday, 22nd July 2024,
Order, honorable members, order. Order, order. Now, how will I understand the point of order if there's so much noise? Has the point of order been raised? He's in the process of raising a point of order. So the honorable member from Pika is now taking over, presiding over the affairs of the House? Can we wait and listen to the point of order?
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the protection. I was saying it is in public domain that the two colleagues I've mentioned were on Monday, 22nd July 2024, convicted by the Kawambwa Magistrate Court for arson. And Honorable Chilangwa was specifically sentenced to 5 years imprisonment with hard labor after finding him guilty of malicious damage to property. Honorable Chitotela was convicted for arson, and the magistrate court committed him to the High Court for sentencing. And it's a conviction that attracts a minimum of 10 years imprisonment. In light of this, Madam Speaker, are the two honorable members of parliament in order to continue representing the good people of Kawambwa and Pambashe respectively in this august House? Madam Speaker, I seek your very serious ruling on this constitutional matter. Thank you.
Order, honorable members. The honorable member for Luena has raised a point of order concerning the status of Honorable Ronald Kaoma Chitotela and Honorable Nixon Chilangwa. Maybe I can give a background to what has happened or what the status is. It was on Monday, 22nd July 2022, when the subordinate court of the first class, you will listen for the ruling outside if you continue on that trajectory. So the two honorable members were convicted by the subordinate court of the first class of the Kawambwa district, which delivered the judgment in the matter of the people versus Ronald Kaoma Chitotela Nixon Chilangwa, and 5 others under cause number 1/124 SG/2/2021. In the judgment of the court, it was found that Mr. Nixon Chilangwa MP was guilty of malicious damage to property, contrary to Section 335 of the Penal Code, Chapter 87 of the laws of Zambia, and sentenced him to 5 years imprisonment with hard labor. The court further found Mr. Ronald Kaoma Chitotela MP guilty of arson and committed him to the High Court for sentencing. Article 72(2)(b) of the Constitution provides for a seat in the National Assembly to fall vacant when the Member of Parliament is serving a prison sentence. Article 72(2)(b) states, and I quote, "The office of Member of Parliament becomes vacant if the member becomes disqualified for election in accordance with Article 70. We go to Article 70. In particular, I'll refer to Article 72F, which states, and I quote, "A person is disqualified from being elected as a member of Parliament if that person is serving a sentence of imprisonment for an offense under a written law." The import of these two provisions is that once a member of Parliament is convicted and sentenced for an offense, that member immediately ceases to hold office as a member of Parliament. Therefore, in the case of Nixon Chilangwa MP, his seat became vacant as soon as he was sentenced to imprisonment for 5 years. However, with regard to Honorable Chitotela Kaoma Ronald MP, since he is not yet sentenced by the High Court, he remains a member of Parliament until such time as he shall be sentenced. The procedure to be followed once a seat in the National Assembly falls vacant is provided for under Article 72(8) of the Constitution, which states as follows. 72(8). Where a vacancy occurs in the National Assembly, the Speaker shall, within 7 days of the occurrence of the vacancy, inform the Electoral Commission of Zambia in writing, and a by-election shall be held in accordance with Article 57. The import of this provision is that where a seat falls vacant, the Speaker is required to inform the Electoral Commission of Zambia within 7 days that the seat has fallen vacant. It is evident from the foregoing that a member of Parliament serving a prison sentence automatically loses his or her seat. The Speaker of the National Assembly is required to inform the Electoral Commission of Zambia of the vacancy within 7 days of its occurrence. In view of this, and in the absence of an order suspending the execution of the sentence as provided for under Section 332 of the Criminal Procedure Code, CPC, Chapter 88 of the laws of Zambia, the Speaker will inform the Electoral Commission of Zambia of the vacancy in the Kawambwa constituency. Thank you very much. What is the point of order, Honorable Member Fonkana?
Madam Speaker, the standard practice of the House and by the Constitution of this Republic, there is always a period provided for appeal. My worry on this House, Madam Speaker, has this House taken notice, Madam Speaker, that there's that time frame for appeal for us to delve into this matter, for which window is still available for appeal. I seek your indulgence.
Honorable Member Fonkana, that odd point of order you are raising on the presiding officer, so it does not qualify. The ruling has been delivered. The law is very clear, where a member of parliament is challenging the election of, is being challenged, and he loses a case, that's where the member is given an opportunity to fully exhaust the process. Oh, okay, anyway, I'm not even going to go there. Let's make progress. Next question, the honorable member for Chitambo. If you want to be a lawyer, read the law.
What did she say? Madam Speaker, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to ask this question. Madam Speaker, this question was dealt with on the floor of the House, so let it just skip. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So that question has been dealt with and it's been withdrawn. So we go to the next question, the honorable member for Kalabo Central.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 395.
The Honorable Minister of Justice.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Honorable Member for Kalabo, Honorable Miyuti, asked the Minister of Justice, A, whether the government has any plans to rehabilitate houses for local courts officers in Kalabo district, which are in a deteriorable state. B, if so, when the plans will be implemented, and C, if there are no such plans, why? I am glad to report, Madam Speaker, that under his able leadership of President Hakainde Hichilema and ensuring that the rule of law is upheld in this nation, we are also looking at the courts in our country. And the answer to the question is as follows. The judiciary has in 2024 budget made a provision for capital projects in the sum of 55,675,360 kwacha. The judiciary, in collaboration with the Ministry of Infrastructure and Housing and Urban Development, has commenced preparation of the Bill of Quantities for the rehabilitation of the houses of staff in Kalabo district. As it relates to B, the plans to rehabilitate houses for the local court officers are scheduled to commence in the financial year of 2025. And lastly, C, the rehabilitation of the local court building in Kalabo district, as indicated above, is part of the Judiciary 2024 budget, Madam Speaker.
Before we go to supplementary questions, there was an indication for a point of order. Honorable Member for Lunte, what's the point of order?
Madam, I'm grateful. Madam Speaker, I rise on this point of order on Honorable Anakoka, the MP for Luena. Madam Speaker, it is a very well-known fact that all members have equal rights and equal access to information in the Assembly. Madam Speaker, when I rise here, as I have done now, for a point of order, there is no way I can know the ruling which you already have. That MP rose on a point of order for which you have a detailed ruling, Madam Speaker. How did he know that you have that ruling? I seek your serious ruling on this matter, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Member for Lunte, you are completely out of order. When a point of order, do you think the presiding officers just walk in here without preparing? We prepare and we do things in anticipation. So how can you draw imputations that The honorable member for Luena knew what the ruling was. Did you know what the ruling was? So why are you making those insinuations? Or the honorable member for Lunte will withdraw that point of order that he has raised. Because it won't be sufficient for me to rule you out of order. You might as well withdraw that point of order and apologize.
Madam Speaker, you have tendered the ruling. Will I withdraw your ruling too? The Speaker has tendered the ruling. I'm clarifying with her, not with you.
Honorable member for Lunte, you've been guided. Withdraw and apologize.
To Honorable Anakoka, Madam. Honorable Anakoka, let me, as directed by...
You are not apologizing to the Honorable Anakoka. You are drawing imputations on me, on my standing as a presiding officer, sitting here that I told Honorable Anakoka what the ruling was. Did I even see Honorable Anakoka today?
Then you missed my point of order, Madam. If that's your interpretation...
Okay, withdraw and apologize.
Honorable Anakoka, let me apologize to you that you...
Order. Honorable member for Lunte, I'm naming you. Mr. Kafwaya, I found your behavior grossly disorderly and sending you away for a day for today's sitting is sufficient punishment, and I therefore, in accordance with standing order, so the previous 208, I name you. I suspend business for a few minutes.
Live pictures are coming your way right here on our Parliament television. Business has been suspended for a few minutes. Lunte Member of Parliament, Mr. Kafwaya, has actually been named by Madam Speaker. And so just about now, we'll equally take a break and we'll be back when business resumes. Good afternoon. Parliament is open to members of the general public who may wish to undertake familiarization tours of Parliament buildings, either in groups or as individuals, or to attend sittings of the House or parliamentary committees. All those wishing to visit Parliament can either write to the Clerk of the National Assembly of Zambia or simply come to Parliament buildings. Upon arrival at Parliament buildings, visitors are required to identify themselves. A passport or national registration card is required for identification purposes. All visitors to parliamentary premises are required to wear smart attire, either office or casual wear. Before gaining access to the galleries, all visitors are oriented and issued with passes by the Security Department at the Media and Visitors Center. Those whom permission is granted to sit in the galleries will be ushered to the appropriate galleries by protocol officers. Furthermore, visitors are not allowed to take with them into the galleries such articles as walking sticks, umbrellas, briefcases or parcels of any type, newspapers, magazines or cell phones. All such articles must be deposited at the reception desk. Visitors to the galleries are given copies of the order paper which shows the order in which the business of that particular day would be taken. You can follow all parliamentary sessions and committee sittings on GoTV Channel 28, Topstar Channel 5, DSTV Channel 272, Parliament Radio, or like the National Assembly of Zambia Facebook page.
Her Honor, the Vice President's question time.
Questions for oral answer under Standing Order number 76.
For a matter to be admitted, it has to be of recent occurrence.
Continue watching Parliament TV, a channel dedicated to bring Parliament closer to you.
My eParliament mobile application. First, download the app on either Play Store or App Store and install. After installation, open the app. Step 1. Register your personal information, that's your names, gender, NRC and date of birth. Step 2. Add your contact information, your email, phone number and home address. Step 3. Select your constituency. Step 4. Create your 4-digit PIN. At this point, the system will send an SMS to your mobile number with a one-time passcode. Step 5. Confirm with one-time passcode that was sent to your mobile. Step 6. Sign in using your phone number and the 4-digit PIN. And Step 7. Create your submission and submit. My eParliament, bringing Parliament closer to you. You can now advertise on Parliament Television and Parliament Radio. For more information, call 0977 854102 or 0977 536487. Parliament Television, bringing Parliament closer to you.
There were 59,439 registered cashew nut farmers in Western Province.
The situation as it is, I'm incapacitated.
The good people of Petauke, especially in Nika 1, where we don't have water.
This is now a serious risk on the people of Iteztezi. Last week we registered one maternal death.
Within the CDF, we can build palaces for all chiefs in our country.
Minister, when are we going to have money? When are we going to construct hospitals?
Catch us live on DSTV Channel 272, OTV Channel 28, Topstar Channel 5, or visit the National Assembly of Zambia Facebook page. Parliament Television, bringing Parliament closer to you.
Her Honor, the Vice President's question time.
The Vice President's question time in the Parliament is a crucial forum where members of Parliament, MPs, have the opportunity to ask questions directly to the Vice President. Okay? Now, these questions cover a wide range of topics, including matters related to government actions, public health, education, energy, and more. One recent topic of interest is the Financial Intelligence Center, FIC report.
The FIC report is out.
Now, here is a situation. The FIC plays a vital role in combating financial crimes such as money laundering, corruption, and illicit financial flows. And so members of Parliament may inquire about the FIC's findings, recommendations, and actions taken based on this particular report.
No one has been fired from the FIC.
What can you say about the integrity of our president and our government concerning the people in the outside?
There is integrity today, in the sense that His Excellency has freely said investigative wings must investigate. And yesterday we went through that. You can't start firing and arresting on suspicion. The investigative wings must work. And the president, the president, I'm not debating him, but he's the president. He has not said, don't, mfiti. This is witch hunting. It is not witch hunting.
Additionally, MPs raised other pressing issues affecting the people, asking accountability and transparency from the government.
They must be proven right or wrong through investigation. Those that will be found guilty with evidence.
On the Vice President's question time.
Questions for oral answer understanding order number 76.
A matter to be admitted, it has to be of recent occurrence.
Continue watching Parliament TV, a channel dedicated to bring Parliament closer to you.
Television. Business will resume in a short while from now. And Madam Speaker, a short while ago did suspend business after naming Lunte Member of Parliament, Mr. Mutote Kafwaya. So in a few minutes from now, we expect business to resume as the House is currently considering questions for oral answer understanding order number 80 and has considered question 393 so far, and question 394, which was supposed to come from Chitambo lawmaker Mr. Mutale, has actually been withdrawn. And so two more questions are still under consideration, understanding order number 80, that's question 395 and question 396.
After consideration of those questions, we expect Zambezi East Member of Parliament, Mr. Brian Kambita, to move a motion urging the House to adopt the report of the Committee on Parastatal Bodies on the report of the Auditor General on the accounts of parastatal bodies and other statutory institutions for the financial year ended 31st December 2022 for the third session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 23rd July 2024.
And there is going to be consideration of the Zambia Institute of Advanced Legal Education Bill, National Assembly Bill number 4 of 2024. It's coming up at third reading stage. And we're standing by for the resumption of business in a few minutes from now. And as we await for the resumption of business, we'll quickly go through the remaining questions, understanding order number 80. Just about now, we take you to the chamber.
Honorable Member for Lunte, I notice he's not in the House, but we'll proceed. The question is that Mr. Mutoto Kafwaya, MP, be suspended from the service of the House for a period of 7 sitting days, effective today, the 24th of July 2024, Any objection? I see none. The question is agreed to. The Honorable Member for Lunte is suspended accordingly. Well, he's not there, so Honorable Member for Lunte, you will be out of the, you will not be allowed to come to the House for the next 7 sitting days, and that in accordance with the decision of this House, you've been suspended from the service of the Assembly for a period of 7 sitting days. During the period of your suspension, and in accordance with the Standing Order 221, just check. 221. These are new orders, so 221 1 and 2, and also Section 28(3) of the National Assembly Powers and Privileges Act, Cap 12 of the laws of Zambia. You will not enter the principles of the Assembly, and you will not participate in any business or activities of the Assembly and its committees, including those for which, if any, you participate in your capacity as an honorable member of the National Assembly and receive the salary or allowances that you are entitled to. So that is the decision of the House. Thank you. We may make progress. Supplementary questions? The Honorable Member for Kalabo Central.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Gladly appreciate the response given by the Honorable Minister. However, my supplementary question is, meanwhile, whilst those plans or those budgetary issues are to be effected, looking at the status of those houses, what immediate short measure that can come to the aid of those officers? Like, for example, if there's rentals or any other that can be of urgent nature. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Justice.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honourable Member, for your follow-up question. I think, Honourable Member, you will appreciate that these houses have gone in this terrible state for many years, and hence it has been the commitment of the New Dawn government to ensure that houses and other local courts, because of the devolution, are also renovated and those that stored are actually implemented. So in as much as we appreciate that this question is from Kalabo, we are undertaking as a ministry actually for the whole nation. So, Honourable Member, we ask that the people appreciate the interventions, because currently we are also moving to tendering of documents, and we hope to start or to embark on these works as 2025 comes. So we believe that this is a good gesture in the right direction for the people of Kalabo who are dear to us. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Kabwata.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, as much as we appreciate the answers that you've given us, Kalabo is not only a place where we have seen that most of these either local courts or houses for officers are actually in a bad state. If you go to Loansonga in Manyinga, you actually see the same problem from there. Now, I just wanted to find out, now since that you are a new minister in this office, whether you're going to consider taking a tour and visit some of these places so that you can appreciate the challenges that your officers are going through. I thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Justice.
Again, thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honourable Member of Kabwata. Actually, you'd want to know that I used to be a Vice Chairperson in the Parastatal Committee, And we did take a tour around the nation to look at the dilapidation and also the condition and the incomplete local codes in our nation. And I would want also to report just how much the UDON government is committed to this cause. Over 34 local courts and also some homes that had stalled from 2010 to 2012 actually are underway, and the works have already commenced. So, Honourable Member, I do note the challenges that our officers are actually going through in the entire nation, and we have to appreciate the New Dawn government for coming up with this and the amount already alluded to. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Resumption.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, and Honourable Minister. I followed you when you are providing answers. Now, the people of Resumption constituents, they are also in the same scenario, just like Ikarabo and even other constituencies. The problem is the same: bad infrastructure, and in some cases there are no such infrastructures. Now, I would like to find out from you, Honourable Minister, since the government has assured the people of Karabo that the resources are there and the works will commence. Now, I would like to find out if you are in a better position also to inform this Honourable House, apart from constructing the courts or law courts in Karabo, are able to give like an update how many provinces or districts you are intending to do the infrastructure, so that maybe we can lessen the burden of asking similar questions all the time. I submit.
The Honourable Minister of Legal Justice.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Again, Honourable Member, thank you for that question. Actually, I think it would be nice, or it would be important that Honourable Member puts in a written question so that we can come, whether it's a statement or to respond to you. However, from the statistics that I have, as already alluded to, we have embarked on completing about 34 local courts, and these, just to mention a few, because I didn't bring the whole list: Twapia in Ndola, for example, Mukonde in Kasama, and Kalindawalo in Petauke, Porokoso in Northwestern, Litoya in Western, as well as Mwense in Ruapula and Zimba in Southern Province. I would want to believe that maybe even yours is there, but either you can bring in a fresh question, or we can chat and make sure I give you the list to that. We are committed, Honourable Member. Thank you for that question. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. We can make progress. The next question, the Honourable Member for Kanchivia.
Question 396, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Acting Minister of Health.
Madam Speaker, Honourable Chanda asked the Minister of Health what the nutritional value of each of the following food crops is: A, millet; B, maize; C, sorghum; and D, sweet potatoes. Madam Speaker, the nutritional value of raw millet per 100 grams is as follows. It has water, 8.6 grams, calories, 378 kilocalories, carbohydrates, 72.9 grams, dietary fiber, 8.5 grams, protein, 11 grams, fat, 4.2 grams, polyunsaturated fats, 2.2 grams. Madam Speaker, millet is rich in complex carbohydrates and dietary fiber, which aids digestion and the regulation of blood sugar levels, making it particularly beneficial for individuals with diabetes. It is a good source of essential nutrients, including vitamin B, such as niacin and B6, magnesium, phosphorus, and iron, which play crucial roles in image production, bone health, and immune function. Millet is also gluten-free, providing a nutritious alternative for those with celiac disease or gluten sensitivities. It is high in antioxidant properties that remove unhealthy chemicals in the body, thereby reducing the risk of chronic diseases such as cancers. Madam Speaker, the nutritional value per 100 grams of white raw maize is as follows. Water 76 grams, calories 86 kilocalories, protein 3.2 grams, fat 1.2 grams, fatty acids, total polyunsaturated 0.6 grams, carbohydrates 19 grams, fiber 2.7 grams. It is rich in carbohydrates which give the body the energy important for growth and development. Maize also offers substantial dietary fiber, promoting health digestion and preventing constipation. It's rich in essential vitamins such as thiamine B1, which aids in energy, important for carrying out the body's functions and keeping the heart healthy. It is also rich in folate B9, crucial for DNA production and prenatal health. It also supplies key minerals such as magnesium and phosphorus, important for bone strength and various biochemical processes. The orange maize is especially rich in preformed vitamin A, critical for maintaining good vision and reducing the risk of eye diseases and loss of eyesight. Madam Speaker, the nutritional value per 100 grams of raw sorghum grain is as follows. Water 12.4 grams, calories 329 kilocalories, carbohydrates 72.1 grams, dietary fiber 6.7 grams, protein 10.6 grams, fat 3.5 grams, polyunsaturated fats 1.7 grams. Sorghum, Madam Speaker, is also rich in complex carbohydrates and dietary fiber. It is also a good source of energy and aids digestion. It's important in the management of blood sugar levels and reducing the risk of chronic diseases. Its protein content, although slightly low in essential nutrients such as lysine, contributes essential amino acids necessary for muscle and tissue repair. Sorghum is also a good source of vitamins and minerals, including B vitamins for metabolic health, and magnesium, phosphorus, and iron for bone health, immune function, and oxygen transport. It is also high in antioxidants that offer protective effects against oxidative stress and inflammation, thereby supporting overall well-being and potentially lowering the risk of certain cancers and heart diseases. As a gluten-free grain, sorghum is an excellent alternative for individuals with celiac disease or gluten sensitivities. It is important for diabetic patients as it is good in controlling sugar levels. Madam Speaker, the nutritional value per 100 grams of raw sweet potatoes is as follows. Water 77.3 grams, calories 86 kilocalories, carbohydrates 20.1 grams, dietary fiber 3 grams, protein 1.6 grams, and fat 0.1 grams. Potatoes are not vegetables because they are very high in starch. They belong to the roots and tubers group. They are an excellent source of complex carbohydrates, providing energy, and are rich in dietary fiber, which supports digestive health and helps regulate blood sugar levels. They are particularly rich in high preformed vitamin A, which is essential for vision, immune infection, and skin health. They also provide significant amounts of vitamin C, which provides immune defense and collagen production, and vitamin B6, which aids in brain development and function. They are a good source of essential minerals like potassium, which helps control blood pressure, and manganese, important for physical and chemical reactions and bone formation. They are antioxidants, especially in colorful varieties, help immune inflammation and oxidative stress, lowering the risk of chronic diseases such as heart disease and cancer. With their diverse nutritional profile and health benefits, sweet potatoes are a valuable component of a diverse diet, supporting overall well-being and disease prevention. Madam Speaker, the foods highlighted in this question are very nutritious and cultivated locally. Millet is very nutritious and a good alternative to maize in our diets. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. Supplementary questions, the Honorable Member for Kanchibia.
Madam Speaker, I thank you. And let me thank the Acting Minister for Health, Engineer Nzovu, for the detailed response. What informed us asking this question, Honorable Minister and Madam Speaker, was the alarming rates of non-communicable diseases in the country, as well as issues to do with adult malnutrition, especially for people from Chasefu, and child malnutrition as well. Honorable Acting Minister, to what extent is the Ministry of Health looking at crop diversification as a health issue? Madam Speaker, thank you.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Member from Chasefu looks like a well-nourished gentleman, not suffering from malnutrition. The Honorable Acting Minister of Health.
Madam Speaker, let me thank Honorable Chanda for that very, very important question. And indeed, let me agree with him that the alarming rates of non-communicable diseases and the issue of malnutrition is an issue which this government must do everything about. And I'm not sure, Madam Speaker, whether the people of Chasefu are malnutritioned, because I've been there and I cannot confirm that they are not. Madam Speaker, government is doing everything possible to ensure that our people do not suffer from these diseases, and to this extent it's working very, very closely with the Ministry of Agriculture to ensure indeed that we diverse our food. The foods mentioned here is elaborated are very, very rich in the various nutrient levels. So government indeed will look to these foods to ensure that we make the necessary supplements. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Member for Kwacha.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity given, and also let me thank the Minister for those responses that is providing on the floor of the House in relation to the question posed by Kanchibia, Member of Parliament. Now, Honorable Minister, the lifestyles for many Zambians has actually changed. Eating pattern is quite observed in many homes where junk foods is no longer tolerated. But despite people eating the foods that you have referred to in the question, we still have an upswing in terms of cases of non-communicable diseases. What could be the challenge which is probably increasing these non-communicable diseases, even when we have seen an upswing of people changing their lifestyle by eating the foods that the Honorable Member has actually put up as a question. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Acting Minister of Health.
Madam Speaker, let me thank my fellow Member of Parliament from Kwacha for that very, very important question. Indeed, lifestyles, indeed, the foods we eat. However, Madam Speaker, my ministry, or the ministry I'm representing right now, normally gives out advisories on types of food, the quantities of food, how to ensure that people, the issues of being obese, obesity is also becoming a problem. However, as to the specifics on the food types and the advice we'll give, I can only ask the Honourable Member of Parliament to visit us at the Minister of Health so that we can give him a very, very comprehensive answer. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Kanchibia.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the we've got countries with more than one staple food. And this has been deliberate. It has been as a result of a deliberate government policy. Countries with more than one staple food, such as Nigeria, etc. And whilst we remain trapped as a maize-centric society, and for so many years, we've got climate change telling us that it can't be business as usual. There are certain crops, as the minister has listed, which are climate resilient, climate tolerant, drought resistant. From a health perspective, again, what would the ministry do to inform the revisiting policy around agriculture to focus on these particular crops, ensuring that a production of crops such as millet, sorghum, etc., is as cost effective as the case should be? Madam Speaker, thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Acting Minister of Health.
Madam Speaker, again, let me thank the Member of Parliament for that very, very important question. This subject matter is key. I think as well as he has said that in this, because of climate change and because of receiving less and less rainfall, we indeed need to diversify and encourage drought-tolerant crops, and obviously millet and the other crops you mentioned here really come in that group. Further, Madam Speaker, even on the staple food itself, maize, the Minister of Agriculture is heavily involved in ensuring that we come up with the drought-tolerant crops. Madam Speaker, there is also need for more sensitization and health promotion to ensure that our people obviously accept the other alternative foods. Maize should not only be the crop on the table. When you look at history, Madam Speaker, a lot of, in fact, certain areas of our country used to depend on millet. They used to depend on sorghum. They used to depend on other crops, and these crops fall in the drought-resistant categories. So, Madam Speaker, as I said already, sensitization, health promotion will be key, ensuring that there is acceptance for these foods. And it's also believed, actually, from science and from our health practitioners, our experts, that these also have a high nutritional value. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Mandevu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I wish to make a follow-up on the question raised by the Honorable Member for Kwacha. I believe that question was very important to ask the Honorable members here and the Zambians at large. It would not be beneficial if the Honorable Minister would decide to give him the information at his office only. Madam Speaker, I know that we are eating well, we have changed our lifestyles, but the issue of non-communicable diseases is so high in this nation. And I wish to ask the Acting Minister, instead of inviting the Honorable Member for Kwacha to your office, are you able to come and share that information here with us so that even the Zambians outside would be able to benefit from the information? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. I request the Honorable Acting Minister of Health.
Madam Speaker, that's a very simple request, and my answer is that yes, indeed, we shall come to this House and give a comprehensive statement of this matter. However, my invitation to the Ministry to meet with the relevant experts still stands. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Iteji.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. And Minister, thank you so much for the responses. Now, Minister, what is the ratio of the nutritionists versus the people they are supposed to serve in Zambia? Because, like you've mentioned, nutrition information is very appropriate in addressing this challenge. How are the ratios in the country in terms of the numbers and their ability to provide these services to the people? Thank you.
The Honorable Acting Minister of Health.
Madam Speaker, the question on the table is what the nutritional value of each of the following crops will be. As to the numbers of nutritionists, I may not have it right now, and since it's a different question, I'm sure I can come back to the House to give the relevant answer. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. Maybe at the time that you come back to share the issue that the Honorable Member for Mandevu has raised, you could also share that information. The Honorable Member for Bwengwa.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. Minister, thank you for your statement. Minister, I just want to find out from you, because here in Zambia it's like nutrition, we don't pay extra attention on the issue of nutrition, and people just eat just to fill the stomach, and they don't even understand the importance of some of the essential minerals for our bodies. And I'll give you an example, Minister. I think when we visited Chile, we saw in Chile people are eating health food. What are you doing about these foods which are coming on the market? Food like Hungry Iron, pizzas, because it's like we are feeding our children non-health food, and those foods are not health for our children, and they have a very, very, in fact, very dangerous, consequences in the long run, the more you consume them. What is your take as a Minister of Health? Thank you very much, Madam.
I'm not sure whether there is any food called Hungry Lion. That's a business name. The Honorable Minister, Acting Minister of Health.
Madam Speaker, I would want to agree with the Member of Parliament for Wengwa that issues of nutrition are not indeed very well understood. And this is the reason why there is a lot of sensitization and health promotion from my ministry. My undertaking on this matter is that we'll do more sensitization and health promotion to ensure that our people are healthy. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. So we go to the next item, notes of motion. The Honorable Member for Zambezi East.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that this House adopts the report of the Committee on Parastatal Bodies, on the report of the Auditor General on the accounts of parastatal bodies and other statutory institutions for the financial year ended 31st December 2022, laid on the table of the House on 23rd July 2024.
Thank you. Is the motion seconded?
Yes, Madam Speaker, it is seconded.
Seconded by the Honorable Member for Chifunavuli. The question is that this House adopts the report of the Committee on Parastatal Bodies, on the report of the Auditor General, on the accounts of parastatal bodies and other statutory institutions for the financial year ended 31st December 2022, for the third session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 23rd July 2024. Any debate? The Honorable Member for Zambezi East.
Madam Speaker, in accordance with its terms of reference, as contained in the Standing Orders 205L and 206L of the National Assembly Standing Orders 2024, the committee considered the report of the Auditor General on the accounts of parastatal bodies and other statutory institutions for the financial year ended 31st December 2022, and has the rare honor and privilege to present its findings before the House. Madam Speaker, the House may wish to note that 16 entities were cited in the report of the Auditor General, which was considered by the committee in order to acquaint itself with the queries cited in the audit report. The committee interacted with various controlling officers who tendered both written and oral submissions before it. Madam, I am aware that members of this august House have already perused through the committee's report. On that premise, I will endeavor to highlight only a few pertinent issues that emanated from the committee's deliberations. Madam Speaker, the committee observes with concern that Cabinet Circular number 14 of 2017, providing for the types of motor vehicles to be used by various ranks of government and quasi-government officials, has been subjected to abuse by some parastatal bodies. The status quo, Madam Speaker, is a huge cost to the government and is hampering the operations of the institutions in some instances. A case in point is the Public Service Microfinance Company, PSMFC, where, contrary to the circular, PSMFC procured an SUV VX 4.5 capacity motor vehicle at a cost of 5,303,791 kwacha to be used as a utility vehicle above the entitlement of the Chief Executive Officer. The purchase of such a fancy car to be used as a utility vehicle is seriously questioned by the committee as it is unreasonable. The committee therefore contends that Cabinet Circular number 14 of 2017 was deliberately circumvented. Moreover, buying motor vehicles is public service microfinance company's primary mandate. It is therefore unacceptable that management was ignorant of Cabinet Circular number 14 of 2017. The committee in this regard urges the controlling officer to immediately institute disciplinary action on the officers who abrogated the government circular. The committee further urges the controlling officer to ensure that personnel at PSMFC and other public entities are kept abreast with the changes in government circulars to avoid the recurrence of the query. Madam Speaker, another serious anomaly the committee came across was failure to inscribe government property as required by regulations. As the House is aware, inscribing government assets is crucial for maintaining transparency, accountability, and efficiency in public asset management. It is for this reason that the committee is disturbed by revelations on the failure to inscribe assets at the National Health Insurance Authority, NIMA. Madam, a staggering 1,288 assets at the authority worth 9,722,689 kwacha were not inscribed with unique asset codes during the period under review. And the reason advanced by the officer was that officials from the Ministry of Transport and Logistics ran out of ink during the process of inscribing the assets. Madam Speaker, the committee finds this highly unacceptable and issues a strong warning to the Ministry of Transport and Logistics to desist from downplaying and abrogating laws and regulations governing public assets. The controlling officer at the Ministry of Health is urged to ensure that he follows up the matter with his counterpart in the Ministry of Transport and Logistics to ensure that all assets at the authority are inscribed with government identification marks without any further delay. Madam, let me also briefly comment on the committee's foreign benchmarking tour to the Botswana Development Corporation, BDC, in Gaborone, Botswana, which the committee was privileged to undertake under the auspices of the Industrial Development Corporation, IDC. The objective of the tour was to give the committee an opportunity to gain first-hand knowledge of BDC's exemplary practices, strategies, and operational excellence, which could inspire similar success within IDC. Madam Speaker, the committee observes that the BDC's investment portfolio is valued at Botswana Pula 5.2 billion. The group assets stood at Botswana Pula 5.7 billion in 2023, and its operating profit stood at Botswana Pula 78 million in 2023. These financial indicators therefore reflect BDC's robust strategic plan, strong shareholder support, and a resilient business model contributing to a project success rate of 90%. However, the committee notes with concern that the Auditor General's report in Zambia on the accounts of parastatal bodies and other statutory institutions for the financial year ending 31st December 2022 revealed that 13 subsidiary companies incurred losses amounting to 746,084,000 and 1.8 billion in the period under review. Consequently, out of the 30 state-owned enterprises in which the IDC held 62.28 to 100% shareholding, only 5 declared dividends amounting to 61,334,600 and 62,012,587 during the period under review. In this regard, the committee strongly urges IDC as a matter of urgency to bullet point number 1, evaluate its investment portfolio, especially in the loss-making subsidiaries, and prepare turnaround strategies that should ensure their profitability. Bullet number 2, immediately prepare business plans for all its subsidiaries with a more than 5-year planning horizon in order to give managers time to implement and achieve the operational objectives. The business plans should speak to the market and product development, and their targets should be achieved within 3 years. And the last bullet, come up with a recapitalization strategy for all its subsidiaries. The strategy should not rely on the parent company providing funds, but rather focus on other financing models such as joint ventures, public-private partnerships, and project financing. The committee observes that state-owned enterprises in Botswana have strong internal audit functions. The effectiveness of the internal audit function in state-owned enterprises has increased operational efficiency and reduced audit queries. The committee in this regard strongly urges the Secretary to the Treasury to assign the Controller of Internal Audit to review the evidently weak internal control systems in parastatal bodies and other statutory institutions in Zambia.
If you could wind up, Honorable.
It is disheartening to see public funds continuing to the abuse as evidenced by the increase in the number of queries contained in the Auditor General's report. Madam Speaker, the committee further observes that management, senior management, and personnel with sensitive portfolios in Botswana state-owned enterprises such as procurement officers and accountants are legally required to register their assets. This approach ensures that such officials account for their wealth and restricts the desire of public employees to pursue money that they cannot account for. The committee is aware that Zambia's Anti-Corruption Commission, in collaboration with the Ministry of Justice, is in process of drafting legislation that will compel senior civil servants to declare their assets. The committee in this regard urges the Ministry of Justice to expedite this process and present the bill to Parliament without further delay. As I come to the end, I wish to, on behalf of the committee, to urge the controlling officer and management teams in all parastatal bodies and other statutory institutions in the country to be exemplary in managing their institutions and ensure that they are not found wanting by the Auditor General. In conclusion, I wish to thank all stakeholders who participated in the production of the committee's report. Madam Speaker, I beg to move.
Thank you very much. Does the seconder wish to speak now or later?
Now, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Chifunabuli.
Madam Speaker, in seconding the motion that has been ably moved by the chairperson of the committee, I shall only comment on few issues that were not covered in the speech. The House may wish to note that the committee, as part of its oversight mandate, undertook investigative and verification tours on selected grain sheds at the Food Reserve Agency (FRA) in Lusaka, Central and Southern provinces, under the contract with the Advanced African Solution of Others of Mauritius. The committee further undertook investigative and verification tours on infrastructure projects under the judiciary, cited in the report of the Auditor General on the account of parastatal bodies and other statutory institutions for the financial year ended 31st December 2021 in Choma and Pemba districts of Southern Province. The FRA contract with the Advanced African Solution Others of Mauritius, the committee observes with concern that the contract has expired and the projects still remain uncompleted. The committee in this regard urges the Ministry of Agriculture to ensure that the contract is re-tendered in consultation with the Ministry of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development. In order to complete the outstanding works, the committee further urges Ministry of Agriculture to engage the Treasury on the request funding and to ensure that due diligence is undertaken in the contract vetting process by the relevant approving authorities. Infrastructure projects under the judiciary. The committee is concerned with the deplorable state of the infrastructure visited under the judiciary in Southern Province and is further concerned that capital projects awarded in the year 2010 to 2011 are still outstanding, therefore affecting the implementation of infrastructure projects earmarked in the medium-term budget plan for 2024 to 2026. The committee further notes that the province received current departmental charges funding of only 200,000 Zambian kwacha to cater for the minor maintenance works of 54 courts in the province. The committee expresses concern that this amount is not adequate to cater for the maintenance works for the 54 courts given the state in which they are. Further, despite this recurrent expenditure on the infrastructure maintenance being remitted, the funds are not prudently utilized, as evident by the deplorable state of the infrastructure visited. In this regard, that the committee urges the controlling officer at the Ministry of Justice to re-engage the Secretary to Treasury for request funding as a matter of extremely urgent to facilitate the maintenance, rehabilitation, and construction of the infrastructure under the judiciary. The committee further urges controlling officer at the Ministry of Justice to enhance monitoring and supervision of the recurrent expenditure remitted for the maintenance of infrastructure under the judiciary. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, allow me to join the mover of the motion to adopt the report of the committee in thanking you, Madam Speaker, for according us the authority to serve on this important committee. I also wish to thank the members of your committee for affording me the opportunity to second the motion. Madam Speaker, I beg to second.
Thank you very much. Any further debate? I would encourage honorable members to debate. We have assigned a lot of time to allow honorable members to debate, because previously we have noticed that honorable members want to debate, but there is usually not sufficient time. And the report is very big. It raises a number of issues with various ministries. Bit concerned that most honorable ministers are not here, so I don't know how they are going to respond to the issues that will be raised by honorable members. The honorable government chief will please ensure that ministers attend sittings so that honorable members queries and concerns are responded to sufficiently. We start with the Honorable Member for Mfurira.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity to contribute to this report. I start by thanking the mover and the seconder for this report, which covers a lot of, which basically covers the performance of the parastatal bodies, state-owned enterprises, for the year 2022. Madam Speaker, let me begin my submission by quoting the report on page 54. The report on page 54, Madam Speaker, concerning the Food Reserve Agency, and it questions the collection of maize by Golden Manela Investments Limited. There is no connection with me, Madam Speaker. The questionable collection of maize by Golden Manela Investments Limited, maize worth 29,033,240 kwacha. Madam Speaker, of interest to me on this finding is the submission by the controlling officer that the maize that was given to Golden Manela Investments for export was based on the authority that was granted by the Secretary to the Treasury and the Minister of Agriculture. They granted authority to FRA to sell maize to Golden Manela for export. Madam Speaker, as we have been discussing the hunger that is existing in this country, as we have been discussing the high prices of meal, we on the left have pointed out that the government ignored the advice that we gave against the sale of maize, the export of maize. Time and again, we urged the government not to deplete the maize reserves so that the people of Zambia do not suffer. Madam Speaker, we have heard so many versions, including selling maize so that we could pay the farmers, selling the maize because we didn't have storage, that the government didn't sell, it was the private players. Even as latest as yesterday, Madam Speaker, the Minister of Agriculture stood on his chair there, denying that government did not sell any maize. He instead said government sold mini-meal. Now, we have the auditors confirming that in fact the Minister of Agriculture himself, who yesterday was denying, gave authority to FRA together with the Secretary to the Treasury to export the maize. Did that authority, did he not become aware that he was giving authority for the export of maize? The people of Zambia, Madam Speaker, deserve the truth and know who is culpable for the high prices of meal that we are facing in this country. Basically, we have a shortage of maize. So to blame the prices of meal and the hunger, Madam Speaker, entirely on the drought is not being fair to the Zambians. Partially, yes, the drought is the cause, but the major cause is that the government ignored the advice not to sell the maize. And I hope with this report that we are debating now, the Minister of Agriculture especially should never ever stand on this floor or even outside to deny that the government did not sell the maize. The report is vindicating our concerns. So this hunger that we have in this country is not entirely as a result of the natural cause of drought. It is also man-made because the people sitting on your right, the government, Madam Speaker, ignored the advice that we kept time and time again. So the Zambians deserve to know the truth. And in fact, even this maize that was given to Golden Manela, when the auditors were on site, some of the contracts that the FRA had signed were not availed to the auditors. It was only after insisting. Your committee is recommending that the controlling officer must investigate why the 6 contracts regarding the sale of maize to Golden Manela were not availed.
Order. There is an indication for a point of order from the Honorable Member for Zambezi East. What's the point of order? Oh, so is it the minister? Sorry, okay, the Minister of Justice then. Okay, the chair will respond finally.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise on a serious point of order. I don't think I've ever raised on a point of order in this House. It is serious because of the allegations that are there. The Honourable Member who is just debating is not being factual to this House, and he knows the rules of this House. When he talks about that the shortage of maize has not been induced by drought, is he in order, Madam Speaker, to mislead the House? Because we all know too well that not only is Zambia, but also other countries have been affected of drought. And so the minister was actually in order to say that the inducement of lack of maize has been caused due to drought. So I stand on a very serious point of order according to a standing order number 71, because we know that even the president declared an emergency on February 28th due to drought, and statistics have been there. So I stand on this very serious point of order, Madam Speaker, and I need your serious ruling. Thank you.
The Honourable Member from Frira was debating on the issue of the causes of the hunger are. And from what I was listening, he was saying it's not, apart from the drought, the hunger could also have been caused because the maize was either sold as maize or as mealie meal, and also the Honourable Minister has been contradicting himself. I think that is his point. He's debating. So when the Honourable Ministers respond, they can tackle that issue instead of raising a point of order. May the Honourable Member continue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Before I move away from this, I would say that it is a fact, as contained in this report, that government gave authority to FRA to give any individual company willing to export the maize. And there is even an example here. One of those that exported the maize on the authority of the Minister of Agriculture and the Secretary to the Treasury was Golden Manela. It's here. In fact, the committee is even urging the controlling officer to investigate 6 of the contracts that this Golden Manela had with FRA. Because in the beginning, they were not even availed to the auditors. It was only after insisting that the contracts were availed. So the committee is treating these contracts as suspicious and urging the controlling officer to investigate. Madam Speaker, we have been talking about corruption of late, and these contracts that Golden Manela had with FRA are smelling of corruption. That is why the committee is urging the controlling officer to investigate. It's here, Madam Speaker, on page 54. Madam Speaker, let me move on to the next enterprise that has been quoted in this report, the Industrial Development Corporation. Madam Speaker, a lot of anomalies have been reported in this report about the IDC, some of them operational, some of them technical. Basically, in summary, the findings at IDC are that the institution has a very big problem. Failing to even prepare financial statements for audit, failing to ensure that the entities under the IDC have got operational boards of directors, including the losses that IDC itself has made, which even the mover of the motion referred to. 13 entities under the IDC made losses in 2022. Madam Speaker, the problem I have with this IDC, usually when an entity is having problems, you summon the management, you also summon the board. Management is there at IDC. We have a problem because the board is headed by the president. I don't know if the committee could even have summoned the president to appear before it to explain why an entity on which he is the board chairperson is underperforming. As things stand now, the buck stops at the president that IDC is failing to perform because he is the chairperson. I note here the committee urging the controlling officer to ensure that the transformational strategic plan is finalized. What I would like to urge as this transformational strategic plan is being concluded is that we need to remove the chairmanship of IDC from the presidency so that we are free to question whoever we find culpable. Otherwise, as things stand now, the buck stops at the president for this bad performance at the IDC until the chairmanship is removed from the presidency. I think that is the right way to go. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Mpika.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, your report, like my colleague has stated, cites a company called Golden Manera. What is so shocking, Madam Speaker, is that this company was registered, or rather incorporated, on 23rd June 2022. And on 28th June 2022, it was given huge contracts to export maize worth 29 million kwacha. Madam Speaker, if that is not corruption, then what is it? Today, Madam Speaker, our people do not have food, exacerbated by the drought, of course, but we had maize in our strategic reserves, which maize was exported corruptly by companies such as this one. Madam Speaker, your report indicates that there is unaccounted for maize sales amounting to 184 million kwacha. Unaccounted for, Madam Speaker, 184 million kwacha. Madam Speaker, that is so shocking. And I hope next the Agriculture Minister will not come here and devour that export, would not stop. When from the same exports we are having such revelations, it is a source of worry, Madam Speaker. When a few kilometers away from here, our people are sleeping on empty stomachs. In Mutendere, Kanyama, Karingaringa, Mandevu, in Mpika, in Chiturika, Kamwanya, and in Avwaria, Chiwombo, our people have no food. Yet 184 million worth of maize is unaccounted for. Madam Speaker, that is uncalled for. And the people involved must apologize to the Zambian people, Madam Speaker, for subjecting them to this kind of suffering. Madam Speaker, your report cites a lot of irregularities, more especially at food reserve agents. At food reserve agents, Madam Speaker, that's where we have millions and millions of irregularities. And no one was being fired. No one was resigned, on moral grounds at least. What kind of corruption is this? If it's not grand corruption, then what is it? Madam Speaker.
Honorable Member, I don't know if you are speculating on the issues of corruption.
Madam Speaker, your report.
No, the issue of corruption. The issue of corruption. Remember our standing orders 71. You, apart from just being factual, the facts must be verifiable. When you were coming to debate, you knew that you raised the issues of alleged corruption. So I don't know if you have anything to support what you are saying in relation to corruption, whether whatever happened here was on account of corruption or something else. So if you have something to lay on the table, please do so that we can avail it to the law enforcement agencies.
Madam Speaker, I will print the documents that I have in support, and your report, Madam Speaker, is coded properly and accounted for, questionable. Such is your report, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker,
Honorable Member, the report does not say that it was through corruption. It was questionable and accounted for, all those, but nothing, the report does not refer to corruption, that these monies were lost through corruption. That is what we want clarity on.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the state-owned enterprises and IDC are making losses year in, year out. They are not even investing. Madam Speaker, here we have NAPSA giving out millions of dollars to private companies as loans, including a power generating company somewhere. The same NAPSA cannot lend money to IDC for IDC to invest in value addition. Madam Speaker, on the copper belt there is a cable manufacturing company which was established in 2017 at 17 million US dollars. Here, NAPSA is about to give 100 million US dollars to a private company. If that 100 million US dollars was...
On what page is that, Honorable Member? You help us. On what page are you talking about NAPSA giving $100 million to a...
I'm talking about the operations of state-owned enterprises, Madam Speaker.
What page? I'm trying to locate NAPSA here. I can't see. So to help me, please, what page are you?
Madam Speaker, I'm trying to drive a point of the reasons, some of the reasons why state-owned enterprises are not properly performing and why they are making losses. Because they are not supported even by some of government institutions.
So, honorable members, as you make that statement through your debate that NAPSA is giving out 100 million to some company, where is the information, where is the evidence to bring before this House to support what you are saying? That is all I'm asking for. The reason I'm asking is I want to follow your debate. So please help me follow your debate.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, NAPSA has lent about 200 million US dollars to a consortium of companies that are doing the Lusaka and Doladio carriageway. They are also in the process of lending Mamba Collieries about 100 million US dollars. That was announced by government, Madam Speaker, most recently.
So where is the... I don't know how you are relating, though I don't want to interrupt your debate. I want the debate to flow. But the report is talking about certain things. So let's restrict ourselves to the report and confine ourselves to the report. If there is any allegation of fraud or corruption in the report, you can refer to that aspect. And also, if you have evidence to counter what the report is saying, you can lay it on the table. That way we will be doing the correct thing in accordance with our standing orders. I'm not trying in any way to curtail your debate. You are doing very well. Continue.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the state-owned enterprises, Madam Speaker, need to be very innovative. Not only that, they need to be supported, Madam Speaker. You cannot have a state-owned enterprise which make losses year in, year out, then it all goes to show like they just exist for the purposes of creating jobs for a few individuals. When the intention must be that government realizes money from the establishment of these enterprises. Madam Speaker, we have a palm farm in Mchinga province, which by now should have reached full capacity production, also absorbing our people for jobs. That is not happening. That is not happening. They can't even start producing palm oil, which they are supposed to start producing. Madam Speaker, if IDC was supported in terms of capital injection, that palm plantation in Mchinga province would have been creating a lot of jobs, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, not only that, we have Zambia Railways. Zambia Railways today, Madam Speaker, is more just like a track for ferrying livestock with wood wagons, wood everything. Madam Speaker, you don't expect such a company to make profits. It's entirely up to IDC to think outside the box and get the necessary support for them to modernize their wagons and their everything. Also the chairperson of the IDC, the law should change. If at all it's the law that provides for the president to be the chairperson, the law should change. We need a chairperson who will be, independent, a chairperson who will be answerable to the Zambian people in a way or so, or even appear before the committee. I know the president can't appear before the committee. Madam Chairperson, Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, as we debate, let's confine our debate to the report. The report is extensive. There is a lot of information here. When we stand and just debate from a point of, for lack of a better word, common sense, it will not help. Let's read the report and debate. The depth of our debate will determine whether we read the report or we are just politicking. The Honorable Member for Lufubu.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. The people of Lufubu are thanking the mover and the seconder of this report, and thanking you, Madam Speaker, because this report is very important. The report has brought out a lot of issues that we need to focus on and be able to find solutions. Now, the people of Lufubu would not love to waste much of the time. We just want to pick on one aspect. And we want to look at page 30, going down to somewhere around maybe page 45. Particularly on Zambia Railways. Madam Speaker, at times it also brings sad feelings when you look at a bigger company like Zambia Railways. The company that helped the industrialization here in Zambia when industries were operational. The company with few mines built this country. If we were to go in history, we will be able to find this. Today, to see Zambia Railways is among the least government-owned companies. It really brings sad feelings, Madam Speaker. On the report, when you look at what has been brought out, you agree with me that right now Zambia Railways is really struggling. You will see they've highlighted all the challenges of poor infrastructure, which is the track, the railway track, poor rolling stock, starting from locomotives, coming to the wagons. These are things that were there and were bought and they were working. And the company used to make money, the money that helped build this country. But somewhere, somehow, I think we stopped doing the right thing, and we've seen now the company getting to where it is. The most saddening thing is where you see the initiatives that are brought out in this report, where it seems that's what we are just relying on. Cannibalizing spares from accidented locomotives or wagons to repair the wagons that you expect to work properly, which is not a good idea. I think this should be taken with the agency it deserves, that government should also try to begin financing this company. If we've managed to do it with Tazara, I think if in our own Zambia Railways, we can do it. And this is the request coming from the people of Lufubu, that if possible, in the next budget, Zambia Railways should be included, so that it can help them try to stand and be able to make at least money even for salaries. Madam Speaker, there is one component that I've also felt bad about. There is a popular bombardier signaling system that was worth over $50 million US. And always we've talked about this one in a negative way. But this system, when it came with the communication system where even the network is there, the network 094. And what the problem could be that has made us not utilize it, so that even the general public can start buying those SIM cards and use that network in order for Zambia Railways to also have another stream of income. We don't understand what the problem could be. I think this one also, let it be looked at. If possible, let Zambia Railways be given a license also to have a telecommunication network that even an ordinary person can buy a SIM card and be able to use. The other thing is that Zambia Railways pays fuel levy. And you know Zambia Railways is one of the major user of diesel. Zambia Railways pay a fuel levy, but they don't use the road, and fuel levy goes to the road. Why can't the government also look at exempting them from this fuel levy, so that that money can be channeled to repairing the rail track? And these, when we look at that one, it will help Zambia Railways have at least resources that they can still plow into the company. Because if you are to check, Madam Speaker, on your report, it is indicated that the working capital is too small for a bigger company like that one. So when these exemptions are brought in, it will help increase the working capital for them. As you have seen, Madam Speaker, fuel is always rising. And they are made to remain, even the rates, to remain the lowest. It is also something that we need to consider, Madam Speaker, and see to it that at least the government should urgently come to their aid and be able to be helped. The other thing, Madam Speaker, when it comes to employment, when you are bringing in a CEO or a managing director. I think it's high time we started getting from the professionals who understand that system, not picking a person from the street to go and run that industry, which is very, very unique. Madam Speaker, that one should be taken seriously because we saw it where we are coming from when the previous government picked a person who was called Professor, we don't know Professor in what, and was brought to Zambia Railways and fired Professor Clive Chirwa, and brought a professor we don't know was Professor in what, who was buying concrete sleepers 3 times higher the cost and failed to even meet what was required to be done. And money was used to painting trees. Money was used to clearing bushes. At the end, that money even now, it is an issue of an audit query because you can't even trace it. Madam Speaker, I'm requesting and I'm pleading with the government that even when they want to employ a person there, let them employ a person.
Honorable Member, your time is up.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Sinazongwe.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity given to add on your report, Madam Speaker, on the parastatal bodies. Madam Speaker, having worked in government during my youthful days, I learned a lot, Madam Speaker, on how government systems operate. Madam Speaker, I'm very much aware that every government department or ministry, they have an internal audit team. Every government department or ministry, there is an internal audit team. Now, what is baffling me, Madam Speaker, is that as your committee interrogated these 16 entities, there was no feedback on how these internal auditing teams performed. Because the Auditor General's office is the final decision auditing institution in the Republic of Zambia. But now what we needed to know, Madam Speaker, is what these controlling officers did when the internal auditors gave their verdicts on their findings. Because, Madam Speaker, it's really surprising that at the Ministry of Communications and Logistics, just for inscription of government asset, ink, just an ink, becomes a reason that could be given to your committee. It's really surprising, Madam Speaker. If it's not an idea of cohesion between the controlling officer and the internal auditor, I don't know how we can call it. This is how government property has gone missing. There is no way a serious institution can claim that they can't afford to have just ink to take stock of government property. This is really alarming, Madam Speaker, and this has to, at one time, come to an end, Madam Speaker, because these resources, Madam Speaker, are budgeted for. Now, if such grading reports can be left unattended to, even after our debate, without serious engagements of law enforcers, then there is literally nothing that we are doing as a government, as a country. Because any money that goes missing, immediately after our debate, the revelations are made, the law enforcers should take keen interest so that these resources are brought back and utilized in a manner that can benefit the nation. Madam Speaker, these revelations shows that the controlling officers are not living up to the task. Because we need to be getting feedbacks from your committees, Madam Speaker, on what action the controlling officers had taken. I like just getting exactly the report without any verdict from the controlling officers of these government institutions. Madam Speaker, the President has insisted to say the new Dawn administration is fighting corruption of the past, the present, and the future. It is the desire of each and every member of Parliament that one day your report, Madam Speaker, on parastatal bodies who report accuracy in utilization of government resources, unlike every time there are a lot of audit queries. So we need, Madam Speaker, to live up to what the President desires, that is of zero tolerance to theft and corruption. With those few words, Madam Speaker, the people of Sinazongwe do support your committee's report. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Member for Kaumbwe.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, to allow the people of Kaumbwe to echo their voice on the report before the House, which is the accounts of accounts for parastatal bodies and the other statutory institutions for the financial year end 31st December 2022. Madam Speaker, in the first instance, your committee has tabled the report that has audit queries relating to 16 parastatal bodies and other statutory institutions. Most of the audit queries that are cited in your report by the committee is dwelling on lack of adherence to the Public Financial Management Act, or the registration rather, in order to achieve zero or audit queries. There is lack of monitoring to the adherence to various rules and regulations of project management and finance policies. Contracts have been signed off by controlling officers without securing the financial profiles.
Order, Honorable Member. As the time is 16:40, I suspend business for 20 minutes for a health break.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for still being with us on Parliamentary television. Business of the House has been suspended for a 20-minute health break, and so we expect business of the House to resume at 17 hours. And the House is considering the report of the Committee on Parastatal Bodies on the report of the Auditor General on the accounts of parastatal bodies and other statutory institutions for the financial year ended 31st December 2022 for the third session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 23rd July 2024. A motion that has been moved by Zambezi East Member of Parliament, Mr. Brian Kambita, and it has been seconded by Chifunauli Member of Parliament, Ms. Julian Nyemba. And at the time business was being suspended, on the floor of the House was Kaungwe Member of Parliament, Mr. Aaron Mwanza, debating this motion. And so when business resumes, we expect him to continue debating this motion.
Time now to look at business that has been considered on the floor of the House starting at 30 hours. Madam Speaker did make an announcement. She did recognize the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from BY School in Kamwala, Lusaka district, and so on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, Madam Speaker warmly welcomed the visitors. Of course, the House did consider 3 questions for oral answer, understanding order number 80. And there was a ruling that was made by Madam Speaker, a Lunte Member of Parliament, Mr. Mtote Kafwaya, has been named by Madam Speaker. He has since been suspended for a period of 7 sitting days, effective today, Wednesday, 24th July 2024.
And this is in accordance with Standing Order 221 and 2 Section 28(3) of the National Assembly of Zambia, Powers and Privileges Act, Cap 12 of the laws of Zambia.
Just now we take a break. To stay tuned.
The National Assembly of Zambia has been rolling out a tree planting program in all the constituencies in the country in response to climate change and the high levels of deforestation. Speaker of the National Assembly of Zambia, Ms. Nelly Bikemuti, State Council MP FAPRA, who is the flag carrier of this campaign, on March 4th, 2024, launched the Plant a Tree Speakers Challenge in a bid to fight the negative effects of climate change. As part of the commemorations of the World Public Relations Week, which fell on 17th July 2024, Zambia Institute of Public Relations and Communications ZIPRAC, in partnership with First Quantum Minerals, demonstrated its commitment to partnering with organizations to raise public awareness about climate change with the aim to influence positive behavior that safeguards the environment for future generations. Speaker of the National Assembly, the Right Honorable Ms. Nelly Bikemuti, State Council, accompanied by the Member of Parliament for Mandevu constituency and selected members of the Zambia Parliamentary Caucus on Environment and Climate Change, graced the tree planting activity at Mtambe Primary School in Lusaka, Mandevu constituency. Speaking when she officiated at the tree planting event, Speaker of the National Assembly, Ms. Nelly Bikemuti, State Council MP FAPRA, said that the tree planting initiative aims to plant 1,000 trees in each of the 156 constituencies in the country.
As the National Assembly of Zambia, we are very committed to contributing towards reforestation. We believe that influencing positive change is only effective if we lead by example. To this end, you will be interested to note that the National Assembly of Zambia in July 2022 launched the tree planting initiative with support from various partners, including the Zambia Forest and Forest Industries Corporation, SAFICO. Some of you may be aware that personally I am passionate about climate change issues. To demonstrate my personal commitment to this cause, I launched the hashtag Speaker Plant a Tree Challenge at my residence in March this year, as a way of encouraging our citizens to plant trees to mitigate the adverse effects of climate change. Just imagine if all of us, just one tree, each of us planted one tree, we will be able to have 20 million trees in Zambia. That will make a remarkable change and contribute towards the fight against climate change. Ladies and gentlemen, you may further wish to note that the National Assembly established the Zambia Parliamentary Caucus on Environment and Climate Change. This is a voluntary organization consisting of over 100 members of parliament who work to influence and advocate for reform in policy, legislation and programs to enhance environmental conservation and mitigating the effects of climate change. It is my sincere hope that such events will not only be routine, but will inspire positive changes among us to take action on climate change. And for members of parliament, please, let's open up, let's go. You have this challenge to plant 1,000 trees in your constituencies. I don't know how many have been able to do this. Let's do that. When you have this event, such an event, scholars will be able to come through, time allowing, to be able to encourage you and also to inculcate a culture of looking after our environment through these young people that are witnessing this event today.
Speaking on behalf of the District Education Board Secretary Debs, Mr. Katete Anderson, who is the Education Standards Officer talked about the importance of tree planting and its benefits.
The tree planting exercise is very, very important. We are facing issues of climate change, and climate change should be inculcated in our learners. And this is the starting point, because you have come to a primary school where our learners are young, and they will take this one and then disseminate the information to our parents. These trees that you are giving us, they are so beneficial to human society. For example, the plants that you are going to plant today, they will give us the required food that the learners will require. Hopefully that next time when you come and visit us, you'll be able to go to the orchard, go and pluck a float and then eat, and then to give us the vitamins that we require. And same applies to the learners. They will have these vitamins, and by so doing, it will protect them from diseases. A school and a district, what we can assure you is that these plants that you are giving us, we ensure to it that the school management takes care of them, and to see that next time as we come, we'll have fruits which are coming from there.
Mutambe Primary School head teacher Mrs. Ntaulo Beatrice thanked ZIPRAC for choosing the school to be part of the tree planting exercise witnessed by the Speaker of the National Assembly.
As a school, we are greatly humbled for being chosen this year by ZIPRAC out of the many schools within our district and the nation at large. A special welcome to all, and be at home. May I be quick to state that this opportunity will not be taken for granted. Rather, it will forever remain engraved in the history of Mutambe Primary School as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity which we will live to treasure. The trees being planted today will be guarded jealously, and as a team, we ensure that we will grow and mature to bear fruits. We further wish Zambia Institute of Public Relations and Communication to continue with the same program in other schools so that Lusaka district and the country at large, Zambia, should remain kept clean, green and healthy.
ZIPRAC Registrar Mr. Nimon Mulea said that the act of planting trees is a reminder that every citizen has a duty to protect and preserve the natural world for future generations.
It is with great pleasure that I stand before you today at this remarkable tree planting event, a significant part of our World Puara Week commemoration. This event is more than a symbolic gesture. It is a testament to our collective commitment to environmental stewardship and sustainable development. As the Zambia Institute of Public Relations and Communication, we understand that our role extends beyond managing communication and public relations. We are also advocates for social positive change, and environmental sustainability is a critical area where we can make a significant impact. This tree planting activity aligns with our mission to protect and promote responsible communication and actions that contribute to the well-being of our society. By planting these trees today, we are sending a clear message that ZIPRAC is committed to supporting initiatives that foster a healthier and greener Zambia.
Ms. Judith Tembo, ZIPRAC Council member, said ZIPRAC is committed to partnering with organizations that raise awareness about climate change.
This day, for us, serves as a reminder of the power and responsibility we hold as communicators in driving positive change. Today, we are not only planting trees, but also planting seeds of awareness and action towards environmental sustainability. In doing so, the role of us public relations and communication practitioners in environmental, social, and governance communication cannot be overstated. Ladies and gentlemen, As public relations practitioners, we have the unique ability to influence public perception and behavior. We have a responsibility to bridge the gap and serve as an interface between organizations and the public, which is what we do. It is our duty, we believe it is our duty to ensure that accurate and compelling information about climate change and its effects reaches all communities.
First Quantum Minerals FQM Senior Public Relations Specialist Mrs. Miriam Hammond said FQM is dedicated to protecting and restoring the environment, as evidenced by the donation by ZIPRAC of 1,000 trees to the National Assembly of Zambia.
These seedlings are crucial for our rehabilitation programs, offering